A lot for your presentation. My name is Gonzalo. I'm a lawyer.
Wow, all right.
I know, I know.
Wasn't a lawyer, okay.
My question is a little more personal. It's about, as you know, we are... No.
That's good, I have my bodyguard with me.
Yeah, I know. It's about, as you know, we are studying a Master in Innovation, and it's about the environment and your environment. How, from your childhood, your parents' support, and as in Chile, we have a big trouble with education at this moment. So, what do you think is a good environment for innovation, and how we can improve in that?
It's a great question. So, again, I think about it a lot at the university level. We're fortunate, not just MIT, at MIT, many other great places. We're fortunate at the university level to be able to create these great spaces, bring together all these talented people. So I have a lot of hope. I'm an eternal optimist. I have a lot of hope that at the university level we can foster a lot of innovation, because we need every one of you, right? The world needs all the bright minds we can possibly get for innovation globally. K through 12 education, you think it's bad in Chile, it's bad in the US as well. We have major educational problems. I don't have all the solutions there. I just try to do my part, do outreach, try to do inspirational things. Actually, I will say one thing from an engineering perspective, kind of goes to my first or second slide. There's a big study by our National Academy of Engineering. Charles Vest is the president. He was a former president of MIT for 14 years, and I greatly admire him. And when he got to the National Academy of Engineering, he said, we're doing this all wrong. What do you mean we're doing this all wrong? We told kids, you want to be an engineer? Yeah, it's tough, and you need the right stuff, and if you're not great in math and science, guess what? Engineering's not for you. Well, guess what? They all went other places. So there's books out and things out. It's called Changing the Conversation. And it's more to this. What do you want to do with your life for kids? Why do you want to do well in school? Because you want to solve really tough problems. You want to build things. You want to design things. Well, then guess what? Here's careers of people who build and design and solve really tough problems. And that was it. So the whole movement's kind of called Changing the Conversation. And, study hard. You have to be proficient in math and science. I want passing. But you don't have to be an A student in math and science. And that's not what we've been telling kids. We've been telling, if you're not the best in your math and science, then maybe this is not a profession for you. So now we're saying, embrace them. Do well. You have to be proficient. You have to master that skill. Let's say it's math or science. But guess what? Then you get to then you come be an engineer with us. Build things, design things. So that's, not exactly an answer, but it's kind of how I come at it. What we can do for inspiration. I think every 5-year-old I talk to is still pretty psyched about space. We have big problems on the Earth, the energy and things, but I can use this platform to inspire a lot of little kids to say, what's your problem? What do you want to solve? Well, it might be clean water, it might be energy, and say, good. Well, guess what types of people are solving those problems? And so it's just part of the conversation to get, especially kids, really engaged and inspire them. How you change the bureaucracy of education in the US and Chile, that's definitely out of my league. I have some really smart students working on theses in technology and policy on that. I don't have the solutions. Thanks for the question.
Thank you. My name is Juan Jaime Díaz. I'm study commercial engineering in this university. It's a different question too. For you, who is the most important leader in the world history and why?
Oh, that's a great question. It's a hard question. I actually teach leadership development, so I ask this to my students a lot. So it's very fair that I'm asked that question. I have to give you a few. Because the most important, but I'll give you a few of my world heroes. Martin Luther King. Why? Because of his vision. And Gandhi. Pretty interesting vision, but more because of his peaceful, nonviolent approach to things. Amelia Earhart, because she was an explorer and she took a lot of risk, and well, she died, but she was great. Well, so those are those are probably some of my top leaders or heroes, world stature leaders. You want more? No, is that okay? you seem very unsatisfied with my comments.
Hi, my name is Adriana Millalen, and I work for the Chilean Economic Development Agency. My question is about your philosophy. According to your experience, how important is the environment to create a culture in which you can learn, act, and discover, and how you foster it?
Yeah, it's critically important. That's what I get for living with an architect. That environment is really important, but we don't always have the most beautiful aesthetic environment. If you're in an environment like that, I know personally, I sure perform better, and I'm relaxed, and if you have nice lighting, you don't have nails. So the environment and for people to work together, that's what engineers do, teamwork and work together. So I think that the physical environment, and then as well as some of the human dynamic environment. But the question's important. What do we have to make do? We have to make the best of what we have, and we don't all get nice new fancy buildings all the time in environments. So a story to help answer. I'm on the NASA Advisory Council, and it's supposed to be people who give NASA advice, hopefully good advice, to the government, to our government. And I went to a place called Langley Research Center. It's in Virginia, if you know where Langley is. And it's a really old center. And they're worried about being shut down, and they have really old buildings. And aesthetically, it's not a nice place to be. And I walked in there. They had no resources. They had no money, not a great, and they turned it in. They call it creative spaces. And they called a creative lab and a think lab, and they turned these, what would be just kind of ugly rooms into something very wonderful. They did it all themselves, and I think they, they got some help, but they didn't hire any consultants. They did it themselves, and I was really impressed. I said, this is great, because this is a part of a solution that anyone with just a little bit of thought can go about making a room, a conference room, whatever it was, more stimulating. And they put a lot of objects in there also, because that helps. It wasn't just chairs and things. They just put some creativity toys, if you will, because we're all probably a little too serious. Right? We went to Neruda's house at Isla Negra, and I think he had that right. We just need to be kids, because we were all infinitely creative when we were 5 years old, and then something happened to us. Our educational system kind of beat out a lot of that creativity. So it's kind of a return to that. So when we think about the environment, what can we do very simply, maybe to be in a really creative, innovative space?
Thank you.
Sure. Hi.
Hi, my name is Claudio, and I work here at the Research Vice Rectorship. My question, I would like you to go back somehow in your life, and if you can tell me what was first? You dedicated your life to doing research for space search, or for doing devices for the humankind in their daily life? And how do you deal explaining people, when the common people, why we need people like you to devise spacesuits, and why not other things?
Okay, so that's a lot of questions too. But, how I got on this path. Porter asked me today. I was really inspired myself when I was young. I was 5 years old when Apollo 11 landed. It's one of those full circle things. Again, I work with Buzz Aldrin now. He's 82, and he's still sharp as a tack. And he's not good at cocktail parties, to socialize, but he's really good about orbital mechanics. And he doesn't calculate it anymore, but he asked me and my students to calculate those orbits to Mars, because we still have to get there. So, of course, I didn't know that when I was 5, but it was pretty inspirational to me. And I didn't think about the connection to space travel. It was just that we humans, we can do anything. We can go wherever we want. So there's no limits. It's like us kind of, you just explore. So to me, that was probably pretty important inspiration to think about space. I went to Notre Dame, so I went to a liberal arts college and became an engineer, and that was really good for me, because philosophy was my favorite subjects, but I didn't know how I was going to get a job. That was pretty practical, and I didn't have any money for college, so so it worked out well for me. I could love philosophy, but I studied engineering because I thought, and so space research came first, but mostly my love of teaching and research. So I really, being a faculty member, I say I have the world's best job. So I have a lot of students now. Right now there's an application for astronauts, and hopefully these friends are astronauts of ours and our students. And people ask me, do you want to be an astronaut? I said, no, that would be a good second place job. It would be great. I would love to fly. But I think I have a pretty great job teaching and doing my research. And fascination with space has been there. And then, of course, since I've been there for a while, since I was also probably from childhood, I was an athlete growing up. And my engineering studies and athletics, they never had much to do with each other until late. Until graduate school. I said, wait, this is interesting. I can study how people perform. And I was kind of always fascinated with that. So that happened, later in my academic training. And now, again, I think a lot of things go full circle in life. Now I can spend some time and energy thinking more about the biomedical applications after. I'll still keep thinking about the space applications. You have to, I need a diversified portfolio. So, the NASA funding is 30–40% of the work, and the biomedical work is another 30–40%, and international programs are the remaining 20. Does that answer your question? Does that help? Okay.